Ohio Farm Bureau has new leadership. Frank Burkett stepped down from the presidency last week to join Nationwide. As you know, there's quite a history between Nationwide and Ohio Farm Bureau. He's on Nationwide's board of directors now, which left a position open for the presidency of Ohio Farm Bureau, and elected by his peers last week, Bill Patterson from Chesterland. How you doing?
Good, Ty. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's really exciting. This is the opportunity to lead this organization, to be the 25th president of this organization over its first 102 years. It's incredible and humbling.
You've been on the board now for a decade. You've been a member of Farm Bureau for over a quarter century there in Geauga County. Why take such a role and take such leadership in an organization like Ohio Farm Bureau?
Yeah, there's certainly a heritage component to it. My family has always been involved in Farm Bureau. In fact, my father was the 14th president of Ohio Farm Bureau. We had to look that up. And so there was just wasn't an expectation, but you just knew that one of the things you needed to do when you came back to the farm, you needed to serve. And the reason that you try and serve the industry is just looking for opportunities to improve the lot for everybody involved in the industry.
Chesterland, where's that located?
Chesterland's in Geauga County. So it's in Geauga County, but it's on the edge of Cuyahoga County. So we're very close to Cleveland, and we're also close to Lake County, right on the corner.
And tell me about your operation.
So we have we farm 150 acres, approximately 150 acres, and it's a direct-to-consumer farm market agritourism operation. So the whole fall experience where people come out and they do the hay rides and the pick your own, come in, buy their pies and their donuts. We also have a wholesale cider operation and a strawberry operation, as well as a wedding venue that came about.
I know that it's grown over the years. We'll talk more about the operation and why that evolution took place in just a bit. But back to your leadership here at Ohio Farm Bureau and who you replaced with Frank Burkett. He was the president here for 5 years and saw a lot of challenges, including, of course, this pandemic that we saw in 2020. He left big shoes to fill.
Yeah, Frank was a tremendous leader. In fact, in my time since being on the Farm Bureau board, there's been two tremendous presidents, and Steve Hirsch and now Frank Burkett. And Frank Burkett was so well liked by the board, the members, our partners. Frank had a quiet leadership style, which means that at the end of the day, he accomplished tremendous amounts for the organization, but in a modest and humble way. And I have tremendous respect for Frank and his leadership.
Of course, you were his first vice president. As you watched his style, what do you take from that you might use, and how might you be a little bit different in the way you approach the presidency of Ohio Farm Bureau?
So I'm not sure that they'll be that much different. I mean, one of the things that I've quoted several times just here in the last week or so is that, the Farm Bureau is about relationships, and Frank always stressed that. And I think any opportunity we have, whether it's with the board on a small individual, whether it's the staff or the membership, how can we continue to engage the members with the people around them, with their community, so that when people are looking on what to do in their community, they're looking to Farm Bureau first, particularly in regards to agriculture.
What are some of the big challenges that you face as you get into this new role and start looking ahead?
Well, I mean, a couple of things that were internally to the organization, a couple of things that we're looking at doing is we're dealing with the task force, the membership task force. And the membership task force was created because we identified that there was going to be some areas in the future. Number one is we try and identify who our member is, and as we go through the transition of the nationwide business model to the future of Ohio Farm Bureau, we needed to identify who that is. We also need to look at the financial resources, and so we have to identify how to balance, the right amount of money that the organization can accomplish what the organization needs to accomplish, and at the same time making sure that we keep money in members' pockets. And so we're looking to identify that amount, who we are, how much, what we need, what resources we need to do what we need to do with the organization. And secondly, we're on the starting end of a new strategic plan. So we've just wrapped up a 4-year strategic plan, and Adam Sharp, our executive vice president, one thing that's so great about Adam is he wants a roadmap, and so the board is providing a strategic plan in concert with the staff and management, and we are going to identify how we're going to operate over the next 3 to 4 years, which is really exciting, but it is a huge carry by Adam and his staff, and as well, it's a large process gone through the board. Outside of the organization, I think we, just continuing to strengthen. We already talked a little about continuing to strengthen our relationships with our legislators. We're not getting any closer to people having their experience on the farm. And so any opportunity we have to be able to build out those relationships with anybody that we deal with, and that's not just legislators, but we're talking the other commodity groups. We're talking the other business groups. Anybody that we can have an influence on. And then we talk about the issues that we're facing very directly. So we're doing all that to be able to become advocates, to be better advocates for the organization. But, what are we looking at? And we just laid out our rural Ohio responsibility plan for the next year and what we're looking at. But broadband became a big deal, didn't it? With the pandemic coming on, we've talked about our broadband issues over the last few years, but they became extremely apparent when there was kids that couldn't go to school, couldn't perform just the basic needs of what they do, let alone the agricultural businesses that reside in these rural areas that didn't have broadband access. That's a big deal. Water quality is just continues to beat the drum for water quality, making sure that we have the right solutions so that we can make sure that we're taking care of our own problems as a state rather than looking towards the federal government for their solutions. Lastly, we have the general challenges of the tax code and how we're treated there, as well as the pressures that we have on our right to own land and the pressure from eminent domain and other areas like that.
Bill Patterson is the new president of Ohio Farm Bureau, elected by his peers on the state board last week. He's from Chesterland, Ohio, in Geauga County. Has a very, unique farm up there with everything you do. You mentioned everything from a wedding venue to pick your own to a real experience there in the fall. Talk about how that farm and agritourism as a whole has evolved over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And did your dad see that vision, and are you carrying that on, or is this something that you brought to the farm?
Yeah, so our business is about our farm market, I shouldn't say. I'm sixth generation. And so since before 1900, we have farmed in and around Geauga County. And so it was two generations. It was the fourth generation, my grandfather, that sort of made this thought that we needed to stop bringing food to the people. There's plenty of people doing that. We think it's very important to bring food to the people. But we thought maybe we wanted to bring people to us, to come out and visit the farm. People were becoming a generation removed from having any connection to a farm. And so we went about opening up a farm market back in the mid-1950s. And from there, we just continue to see more and more people making that decision that they wanted to come out to the farm, in addition to going out to the farmers markets. And we are still going to the farmers markets. That all changed in about the 70s, where we all of a sudden identified that not only do people want to come out and visit the farm, but they actually started wanting to be involved in the farm. So doing pick your own became a big deal. And it became a really big deal in sort of the mid-80s. About that time, we identified that while people were still doing their pick your own, they wanted to play. So they were out there. They're visiting doing pick your own. They're coming out to our farm market, but they're also playing sort of on all the stuff that as a child, all the stuff that I played on. That's what they wanted to do. And so we thought, well, is there any way that we can provide that farm experience to children, but on a play scale? So we opened up our Fall Fun Fest, and in 1992, we opened up our Fall Fun Fest, which is a play area for kids that's supposed to replicate everything that we were able to do as farm kids. It would allow people that aren't farm kids to come out and play on that stuff. That has shifted to today. You see that strengthening local foods movement, which that maybe started in the early 2000s, but that has just continued, and it's grown and contracted and grown and refined itself as to what people are looking for when they come out to the farm as far as having those local foods. So we like to think and we hope that we are trying to address anything. We want to make sure that anything that our customer wants to experience on the farm, that we're providing it to them in some form. which is where we sort of evolved to today with our farm market and the Pick Your Own and the Fall Fun Fest. The wedding venue that you spoke of, that just came about. We had an opportunity. We had another business in a golf course in our family, and that golf course included a wedding venue, and our local park district bought the golf course, but we had a wedding venue, and that's actually fit in very nicely to our whole operation as well.
You mentioned, and I will emphasize that over the past year, people wanting to know where their food comes from has grown rapidly through this COVID-19 pandemic. And so you bring that experience because it's not just fruit growers, it's not just those that have farm markets or those that go to a farmer's market. Now we have meat growers that are able to sell right from their farm. We have customers that are wanting to know where all products are coming from. You can bring that vision and help a lot of our members get where they need to go by doing what you've already done on the farm.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting as you look at our membership and you see the amount of members that had different livestock operations, and you just see them. I mean, I think it's every week I see a new person that's saying, hey, we're going direct to consumer. And we did the same thing. It was in the fall of 2019. We happened to start selling local meats, whether it's some lamb, some chicken that we raised, and some turkeys that we raised. And then we had some friends of ours who raised beef. And we thought, well, this is kind of neat. This is fun. Well, that really took off. As soon as the pandemic hit, it went from being kind of a sleepy side thing to being a big deal to have it. Now, it's not one of the forefront things of what we do. We're a fruit operation, but people are looking for their local meats. And so it's really exciting to see the consumers, to see our members starting to react to the consumers and provide the consumers what they're looking for. And I don't see that. I don't see that going away. I mean, I see that continuing, and we need, it's our obligation as farmers to figure out how to meet that demand.
Meeting demand, meeting challenges head on. That's what Ohio Farm Bureau is all about, and there's never a lack of challenges. And so as you come into President, what would you like our members to know as you look to the future of Farm Bureau, maybe 5-10 years down the road?
Yeah, I mean, as I think about 10 years down the road, we have to make sure that we have fully defined that member as far as what, basically what's agriculture in Ohio going to look like? Who are the players going to be in agriculture? And can we make sure that we have a real wide, broad tent that is going to accommodate all of those people? Because we want to make sure, I mean, you look at our, it's right, sitting right behind you, working together for Ohio farmers to advance agriculture and strengthen our community. So we need to work together with everybody, whether they're members or not. We need to be working together. That's what formed us in the very beginning, 102 years ago, and that's been our strongest strength. So looking at those issues that we have, we need to have everybody at the table. When we look at the issues of water, when we look at the issues of broadband, we need to be bringing everybody together. We need to also be identifying what's the next issue that we're going to face. And so that, Farm Bureau needs to continue to be multitasking on all fronts as it concerns, because as we looked at that, as we talked about it, the end goal is going to be strengthening those communities to be able to build the backbone so that we can continue to be successful in the future.
Bill Patterson, the 25th president of Ohio Farm Bureau. Thank you so much. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks for having me.